Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome, my friends. My name is Vincenzo, and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. And yes, the binging goes on, as they say, and I'm having an absolute ball. It's my wife's asking a lot of questions, that I can tell you. Why is it that there's somebody always at the door? Or why are you constantly going into the community mailbox to pick up mail? You know, it's fascinating. So, and I'm not keeping track whether it's Etsy or AliExpress, but you know, we used to get all our pens through the mail, Post Canada in my case, and you know, pick it up in the mailbox. I don't have a door mailbox. I have a community mailbox where I pick up my mail, and that's where I would find the package. You know, but now they've got, you know, deliveries at your door. I mean, that's fabulous. I mean, I'm ordering pens from, you know, Italian companies, American companies, and you know, I'm being charged taxes, and I'm being charged handling charges, and shipping, and you know, and the pen ends up costing me $50 more than what I originally thought it would cost me. But with AliExpress, with these pens, if it's $35, it's $35, and they deliver it to your door. I mean, fascinating. And speaking of delivery to the door, I just got this one. And this is the Hongdian D1, a skeleton pen, silver pen, that I propose to review for you today. It got delivered at my door. Do I like it? What don't I like about it? Does it give me a great or a medium or a no writing experience at all? Well, folks, stay tuned, and we will add this pen to our collection. Okay, so we're back with the pen, and here it is. Now, the first thing you will, well, actually, there are two things that you immediately notice. One is visual, and the other one is tactile. When you touch this pen, in some of the cutout skeleton motifs are a little rough to the touch. I guess in certain instances it can't be avoided just because given the motif that's involved. For example, right here, I could feel, you know, sharp, not to the point where it cuts you, but it is a, you know, tactile wise, it's not smooth. Now, having said that, when I look at my Asvine, which is a similar design, skeleton design, I must admit that, I mean, the cutouts are a lot bigger, so there's a lot less roughness. It's just on a few motifs, for example, right here or right here, but you do feel it. And I think this is a good pen to compare it with. If I go back to my Hongdian, the other thing that you notice immediately is that, and I know some of the reviewers felt that the shiny quality of the metal makes it almost look cheap, if you will, and that some would have preferred that this be in a kind of a matte silver metal, a little bit like the Asvine is. I must admit that I would agree with that assessment. In fact, if I take out my Hongdian 100, there is a little bit of matteness to this pen. It's not quite matte, but it's not as shiny. And when you compare the two, you see that, you know, there's no doubt that the D1 looks cheaper, which is unfortunate. So that's one of the things that immediately comes to mind. Now, in that regard, we have this finial where
the finial is a bird. There is an inscription there, and I can't make, other than Hongdian, I can't make out the rest. But so there is some wording there that must have some. Well, I could see the D1. Then I see the word Lantian, Hongdian, fortune. That's interesting. So that bird may have some significance in the Chinese culture, perhaps, and perhaps something to do with good luck. I'm not sure. I apologize. I should have perhaps researched that, but some other reviewers may have commented on it. And if I get the answer, you know what, I will put it up on the screen when I publish the review. So, and the same goes for that finial. That finial is very nice, but because of its shiny quality, almost has the look of a stamped beer can, if you know what I mean. Kind of aluminum, you know. In any of, but it is a nice finial. Okay. On the other side, there is no finial to speak of. It's just the other finial is just flat, shiny surface. I also like this bevel that you could see on the finial at the top. Nice touch. That brings me to the clip. I like the clip. The clip is squarish, and then it has a bevel in the middle. That line lends to it some character, if you will, and it gives it a nice look. Is it functional? It's stiff, but functional. Okay. The barrel is fairly straight, and then we come to the middle section where you see the inscription Hongdian. D1 is there. Okay, so that's on the end. It's at the end of that barrel, or of that cap, if you will. So it's not a separate band. The pen does have a tendency to, it's reduced slightly, and then it kind of points to this piston filler knob that we will look at in a few seconds. Now, let's get inside the pen one turn, and maybe even less than one turn, which is typical of Hongdian. Here it is. Now, we start with the piston filler. I cannot show you rotate that filler because I filled up the pen with ink, which I should not have done before I reviewed it, but in any event, but you could see that ink in there. We'll see it shortly in the writing sample. It is a sparkling ink, and you can actually see the sparkle. Here you go. You can see that. So there is that shimmer that's coming through there, which is a nice touch. I think it's you know, depending on the color that you put of the ink, it might be it might, you know, it will no doubt stand out. Okay, but it does work properly. Which is great. You know, this company's making really nice pens and they're piston fillers, so they have to be congratulated for that. You know, and in that regard, this is what you got with the pen. It was only in a plastic bubble wrap, but I got instructions that tell you, I guess, how to disassemble various parts and maybe even ink the pen, which is nice. I never look at these things just because, you know, most of the time I know what I'm doing, not all the time, and when I don't, these things do come in handy. So it came in with that, and it also came with this and this. So this is some of these grease to I guess to grease up that piston filler when the need comes. It's interesting. I noticed that when you open it up, there is you see there's that kind of an internal nipple there, and you can squeeze up the grease, and I guess it facilitates putting it on the piston filler. It's the first time I've seen a little bottle like this. Usually they just have a nipple on the top of the bottle, a cap, but so that could be very useful. And of course, it comes with this Hongdian wrench. So this is the second one I have, which you use to dismantle, if you will, the piston filler. I'm not going to do that, but there are other videos that demonstrate how this is done. It's fairly simple. If not, the instructions are there. And I just noticed something on on that ring there where the name is. You see the letters LT because they are repeated here on the wrench. I'm not sure what that LT stands for. So back to the pen. The nib. Nib is a very nice nib. Inscribed, you will have the word, you see the year 1997. You have the brand name Hongdian. There is the F for fine, which is always nice to have on pens. And then there's a number 35. I'm not sure what that 35 stands for. If I do a quick calculation, it's not a number of years, I don't think. But I believe I've seen that number associated with the size of nibs, but I could be wrong. So nice scrolling, and this is a fine nib. And you will see that, just a nice plastic feed. This nib section unscrews very nicely so that you can, when time comes, you can clean it, appropriately. I like that nib point there. It does have quite a bit of material, so you see that. So I suspect that it's going to be a cooperative nib. Looks fairly thin. I'm wondering if it's going to be as springy as the nib on my Hongdian D5, I believe. So in any event, that is the pen. Now, in terms of a feel, it feels very good in the hand. It has a very nice, an ideal weight because of the piercing of the motif in the skeleton barrel. You don't have the weight of a complete metal pen. Unfortunately, this grip section is somewhat slippery. I do have a tendency to have oily fingers. The other end, it's not as slippery as some other pens that I've had, the other metal pens, merely because I think the weight is not there, so that at the end of the day, it doesn't slip right out of your fingers. The threaded section is nicely machined. You can feel the texture, but it's not sharp in any way, shape, or form. So very nice and comfortable unposted. Does it post? Well, let's take a look at that. Yes, it posts comfortably and securely and deeply. So unlike some other pens that unfortunately interfere with the piston knob, so that when you go to post, you end up twisting the knob and causing a mess with the ink. This one sits beyond the knob. I think you can see that. You can see that it sits beyond the knob, and in so doing, will not create a mess when you do post. I think I don't like posting my pens, but for those of you who need to post your pens, it is post. You can do so. There you have it. So I think we've covered all of the bases in terms of the design and the features of this pen. So what I propose is we proceed with size comparison. I'll show some measurements, and then we will enjoy our writing sample. Be right back.
Okay, here's a pen comparison. Try to take out some other metal pens. It's concentrating on Hongdian. This is the Fully-Win. Fully-Win, I believe they call it the Fully-Win Old Brass Pen. That's the Hongdian D5. This is the Hongdian 100. This is my Diplomat Aero in blue. This is my Asvine V169. And here is your subject pen, the Hongdian D1. There you have it. That's a capped comparison. And here you have a posted comparison. Now you should take a close look at the difference or the comparison between the two skeleton pens. This one sits at the top and dangerously, whereas this one here, you can see it rests comfortably and deeply, just like my 100. The Asvine is also very back-weighted. It sits nicely, but it's at the top, and my D5, not the greatest posting pen, but there you have it. So very nice poster, or postable pen, I should say. There you have the posted comparison. And here you have an unposted or uncapped comparison. You can see that the subject pen, the D1, is slightly smaller than the Asvine, the two skeleton pens that I have in my collection. Comparable to the Diplomat, slightly longer than my 100, smaller than both my D5 and my Fully-Win. And there you have it. We'll now look at the measurement chart and then proceed to the writing sample. Now for the writing sample. For writing sample, I thought we would put this, now it kind of comes up bluish, but it's really a gray color. I don't think the camera's picking it up right, but it does turn out to be a bluish gray ink. I think it's right on. It's Stars in Autumn. Let me show you from Waringal. Let me show you the swatches there. As you could see, Waringal Stars in Autumn. It's kind of a grayish blue with that silver shimmer. I think it's just gorgeous. I think it's a very nice ink, and I think it nicely matches that pen. Okay, so we will do the writing sample. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Okay, so this is my Hongdian D1 Silver. The nib, I thought this nib was a medium nib, but it isn't. It's a Hongdian I believe it's a fine nib. And it's got some spring in it, folks. Very nice spring. The ink is the Waringal Stars in Autumn. Now, I don't know if you could see that, but it's got a lot of spring in it. And it's very wet, especially for a fine nib. Beautiful nib, I gotta tell you. It's almost as if the the nib has been sprung, if you will. It is so flexible and so springy. Reminds me of the nib in my Hongdian D5, which is this one. And I've been telling people on my comments that I almost, at one point, it was so springy, this nib was so springy that I was under the impression that I had gotten, by mistake, a gold nib. And that's all, that's virtually impossible. But, and it's got the same feel, got really nice spring to it. Wow, very nice. So, fast writing, not a problem. It's got this very nice soft feedback. So it's a very, very smooth, very wet, and most constant. Congrats, Hongdian, once again. There you have it. Now, in terms of my rating, okay, what is it that I like about this pen? The nib, for one. It's springy, very nice. The nib is very, very nice. The fact that it's a piston filler, and I also like its design. What do I dislike about this pen? Well, the skeleton motif is sharp and could have been, sanded down somewhat. So it just lacks the quality that's usually associated with Hongdian. Any other dislikes? I would have preferred a matte finish. I think it would have made this pen, can you imagine if it was, matte like this Asvine? I think it would have been much, much nicer, So, boy, the camera's having a hard time focusing there. This Asvine is just, because it's matte, it gives it all its character. What else do I like or dislike? In terms of value, there we have it. That's the value. In terms of a go-to pen, I got to tell you, this is a go-to pen for me for corrections and note-taking. On PDFs, where you need to write some notes, but very small, on the side, on the margins. Perfect, just perfect pen. And again, it's an eye catcher. Like I like to say, at around a conference table, it's gonna engage some conversation. I can tell you that. So there you have it. Gonna sign it. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much. Keep on subscribing. It's going up and up and up and up and up. I'm having an absolute ball. I get some criticism. Some of my videos may be a little too long. Look, folks, if the videos are too long, I have a timestamp. I have a lot of fun doing those videos. I try to put my heart and soul in them. There's some passion there. I enjoy it. I enjoy the music. But, if you want to do without those videos, the mic timestamp, just skip it and get down to whatever section in the timestamp that suits you. And there you have it. You have the facility to do it. I'm not hiding anything. I don't need to do this to earn a living. As I mentioned to you, I'm an attorney during the day and sometime by night. I'm doing this simply for fountain pen therapy, and I'm sharing whatever passion I have for this hobby with you all. It's a great community. We can have a lot of fun. We can share opinions. That's not a problem. But let's not get personal. Okay? So thank you very, very much, and stay tuned for the next review.